Welcome to Subramani. I'm going to talk about a topic about which many people have spoken, and more Morgan Housel has written about it in his blog. And I would take a little from where he talks, and I'll take off a little. So he talks about getting rich and staying rich, right? So getting rich can happen through various means. One is you can inherit money. You can be the son of a poor man, but your uncle could leave you money, so you could inherit that way. You could play a great sport. You could be a cricketer, you could be a tennis player, you could be a golfer, you could be in films. Any of these things give you quick money and a lot of money, right? You could also earn well getting your ESOPs and things like that, but there I think the money will come little more gradually. Earning money is not very easy. I'm not even for a minute pretending that earning money is easy, because you may do some trades, earn money in the markets, but very quickly lose them also, right? So for whatever reasons you may make or you may not make, even assuming that you've made money, keeping the money is far more challenging than making the money, and very many people have been reduced to penury, and they've gone and pleaded that they're bankrupt they've gone to the courts and said they're bankrupt. What they are may be different, but at least you have to stand up in the court and say you've got liabilities far greater than the assets that you have. Whoever thought that Dhirubhai Ambani's son will stand in the court in London and say I have no money, right? My money is over. I'm not even getting into the truth, but the thing is, he had to stand there in the court and say I can't pay people because I've run out of money. Whatever you say, it's an ego crushing thing. It's easy to say, oh, he's got money, he's stashed away in his wife's name, and I'm not getting into all that, but I'm just saying, to be able to stand there, many of us will not be able to do, at least I will not be able to do, saying sorry, I borrowed more than what I can repay and I don't have money, right? But you will have to do that in the bankruptcy court. Be that as it may, it's very important that when you earn money, the money gets invested well. Now, God plays very funny games. Now, suppose God decides to give you 20 crores in your life, right? From your age of say 25 till your age of 55, right? 30 years. God decides to give you, say, let's say 30 crores. Let's make it 30 crores because it's easier, right? So 30 years, 30 crores. Most of us can't handle. If God gave us the money at the age of 25 and he gave us 30 crores in the first year, right, and gave you nothing from that till 55, very, very, very few people will be able to handle that, because when you get 30 crores at the age of 25, you think it is God's duty to give you 30 crores every year. Absolutely, you just can't. For all practical purposes, I'm ignoring compounding and I'm ignoring taxation. So 30 crores got upfront would get spent, it get blown, very, very likely that the money will not last enough, right? Now, if God plays you another game where he gives you nothing from 25 to 44 and gives you 30 crores at the age of 55, right, then what has happened over last 30 years, you have completely lost your self-esteem, and you will everybody would say, oh, this guy is a failure, he can't handle money, right? So he doesn't have money, so let us send him the leftovers from our house, right? That kind of a treatment is what you got. You maybe never got married, you don't have children, or even if you have, then you don't have any great respect in society, because society will continue to judge people by the amount of money they have. Like it or lump it, that is not going to change during my lifetime, right? Now, instead, if God give you 1 crore every year from the age of 25 till the age of 55, let us adjust it for inflation, let us pay the taxes, whatever, right? That is the only way most of us can handle money, because then we won't make any big mistakes. So you will earn 1 crore, you will pay 30 lakhs tax, you will have left with 50-60 lakhs. Some money you get used, and you will do that. Even if you lose money of 1 year, next year you will be more careful. Next 3-4 years you will be ultra careful. You will go to bank fixed deposits, etc. You will not lose money. So that is how. But when people get big chunky money, right, like Jesse Livermore, who got chunky money, believe it or not, he went short on the market in 1929 and he got $3 billion equivalent adjusted for inflation. That's the kind of money that he got, and that's the kind of money which he blew. Because when you are so sure that you can short and make money, you will continue to short. A very good example is when Tata Power was 30 rupees. A friend of mine who likes to go short in the market, he had made a lot of money shorting Tata Power from 80 to 30, right? So at 30, when I was contemplating buying, I called him. He's my old friend. So I called him and I said, what do you think of Tata Power? He said, great share to go short. I short from 80 right up to 30 and I made a lot of money. I said, let me give you a tip. Go long, you will make more money. He actually went long with a nice big number of shares, and he sold off at 60 or 65, but he made so much money. Because what happens is, when you make money doing one particular thing, you think you're getting better and better at it, so you go on doubling. So I made money shorting 50 shares, then I short 500 shares, then I short 5,000 shares. That's what we do. And suddenly you realize that the share to be shorted is not the one which I've already short. You have short a share at 300 rupees, you have made money up to 30 or up to 80 or up to 50. That's the end. After that, you may have to go long in the same share. So either change your strategy or change your share, or that's very important. So when you make money by going short or by going long and you've made the money, you have to understand that does not mean you know how to invest. You know how to trade does not mean you know how to invest. Jesse Livermore, when he made that kind of money, if he had given it to his wife and said invest it properly, he would have had that money. So when you make money in one particular field or one particular way, then you get very arrogant to think that therefore you know everything else. Unfortunately or fortunately, that's not true. I keep saying this: when God gives you money or God gives you children, He does not give you an operational manual. You have to create it yourself. You have to know what to do with that money. You have to know how to bring up that child. So if you have two children, operational manual which you made for the first child does not work on the second child, right? So similarly, money, how it is to be managed. Should you put it in an index fund? Should you put it in G-Secs? Should you put it in an ultra short bond fund? Should you put it in a large cap fund, mid cap fund? Do you need to invest in the US? All these questions have to be answered. Now, if you are a straightforward employee in a company who is saying, I have got simple goals I have to achieve, it is very good for you to stick to index funds. Unfortunately, to stick to index funds, you need two things. You need tremendous ego control. When everybody else is talking about, oh, I put in ICICI Opportunity Fund, I put in Templeton Advantage Fund, or Nippon Fund, or Invesco Fund, you have to be able to stand there and say, no, but my advisor tells me that an index fund will work. Subra tells me, Warren Buffett tells me, all of them tell me index fund will work. So I will not do an index fund. So that kind of tremendous steely resolve is required. It's not easy. It's pretty difficult. And I know very many people who keep giving advice that, oh, you can have a simple one, have two portfolios, and that's enough. You don't need to do anything. Many of them are grossly underperforming the index, but they are still meeting their goals. So if you ask me, they're doing a good job, because everybody need not beat every bloody index in the market. There are too many indices in the market. I don't care a fig. But then you should have enough ego control, right? So many people don't have ego control. If you don't have ego control, you can't put money in an index fund. Not because the index fund won't achieve your results, but you will not be able to stand there and say, I put in an Australia fund, I put in a Brazil fund. It is going to hurt your ego to think that, oh, I need to do all this. Actually, you don't. I don't. We can always give it out to a fund manager who will do a better job than what we can do. But our ego has to allow us to do that. So first thing is that. Second, unless you have a job which is connected to the markets, if you are, say, head of research in Glaxo or something like that, and you're not interested in the markets and you don't care what happens, you need an advisor. You need a good advisor, so spend a lavishly long time in recruiting one. Then make sure that you conquer the conflict of interest. So I would rather pay my my advisor a percentage of my total assets, which includes my investable house, not maybe my living house, but if I have an asset which is a house, I would pay him or her a small percentage. I'm not saying I'll pay 1% of that. Maybe I'll pay 0.25%, or maybe I'll pay 0.10, whatever, but I'll pay that so that there is no conflict of interest. So when you tell your advisor that I want to remove money from a liquid fund and repay a housing loan, it should be in his interest that your total assets don't change, and or otherwise he'll say, "Nahi, liquid, let us keep some money, more money in equity," or something like that. Don't create conflict of interest. So once you know how you have earned money, then you have got you've got rich. Now it is important for you to understand how to get wealthy. You need to create different sources of income. Now a person earning 1 crore is not wealthy as a person earning 25 lakhs from 4 sources. Let's say he's got 25 lakhs business income, 25 lakhs dividend income, 25 lakhs rent, and 25 lakhs of interest income, or some other annuity which he has done. What happens is one of them shut down, the other 3 will be there. So earning 1 crore and spending 80 lakhs may not be a great way to be rich permanently, right? So you have to get rich, you have to stay rich, and very importantly get wealthy, which means you have to create various sources of income, right? You have to ensure your current income is protected with a lot of insurance, right? So you need medical insurance, you need life insurance. I mean, you need life insurance when they are dependent. Your dependents need you to take life insurance, let's put it that way. You have other sources of income, you have a dividend, you have some money kept on vyaj, or you get interest, you get rent. When you get income from 4-5 sources, and each source more than enough to meet your expenses, then you're really wealthy. So first you have to get rich, then you have to be able to stay rich, you have to get wealthy, right? So that's the best way to stay rich, and for that 99% of us require an advisor. So I use an advisor because at least to sound out and say, this is what I'm going to do, what do you think? And he would say, maybe you should buy less. For example, I was getting carried away by DHFL, right? Diwan Housing Finance, yes. Diwan Housing Finance, I was talking to somebody and I thought the company will come back. They did try. They paid up 55,000 crores out of the 75-80,000 crores of debt. I thought if they wanted to default, they would have defaulted on day one, but they didn't. They defaulted after paying 55,000 crores. But in the meanwhile, I had picked up 600 shares at different prices, and I was still in the red. I was losing money. But if I had my way, and without my broker holding me back, I would have built up a position of 6,000 shares and not just 600 shares. And I would have lost very heavily because the company went fud. So to hold you back, to do your proper asset allocation, to know when to jump full, where to do an SIP, and then add on a lump sum, all these things my advisor helps me a lot. So you choose getting rich, staying rich, getting wealthy, using an advisor. All this is important for you to get rich and stay wealthy. Thank you. And when I say get rich, stay wealthy, using your advisor, all this is important. You have to have the humility to listen to them. That's very important, right? You don't say that, oh, I'm a great cricketer, so I know how private equity works. You don't. Right? Just accept it. Have the humility to accept that you have put together a team, a chartered accountant who will advise you on taxation, a guy who will advise you on equity, a financial planner who will advise you on asset allocation, right? So the guy who was doing asset allocation for Vinod Kambli and Sachin Tendulkar would have given similar advice, but it would have been very bad advice for Vinod Kambli because the cash flows stopped much earlier. And it would have been great advice for Sachin Tendulkar because the cash flows kept coming and they are continuing to come even though he does not play cricket, right? So you don't know how to predict the future. So you don't know how to predict the future about yourself. It's very difficult even for your financial advisor when your income is so erratic, but you need somebody who will advise you on insurance, on investing, on direct equity, on mutual funds, on taxation. Obviously it has to be an umbrella, one person heading everything or whatever combination, and you have to have the humility of saying, I'm a great cricketer, I'm a great singer, I'm a great actor, that's fantastic, but I don't understand finance. I will go by what these people say. I will trust them. I'll keep verifying. Every year I will sit and do a review. Maybe I will do that, but will I try to do it on my own? Answer is no. It could be a disaster. So thank you.